something like that. I want to say with Virtue was their kind of counterpart team that they had at the time, both with varying degrees of success. But he also played in the last iteration of Congarna's roster, which had Apply, Vita Coco, had Michael on it, had Crimzo on it as well, who you'll see with Envision Esports as well. So this guy has definitely had some really strong teammates. You might notice his name, and he's going to be on the Widowmaker to start things off here on defense, going up against Shrugger.
And for the offensive side, it will be the El Presidente Cup that we did hear about in terms of what Gravity had to say, but already forced out of position. It will be in the end Shrugger picking up a first kill, second one onto Lil Menace. Open up big here on Junkertown, but Hawk answers with a kill of his own onto Ninja Neck, but is it enough? As Sugar Free will pick up one more onto Son of God. However, this should be all about Shrugger, as he's gonna have a much better time here on this Widowmaker on Junkertown.
Son of God being on the Bastion, he's going to come back into play a little bit, and Ruby here is actually going to be playing the Roadhog. You would often see, with this type of setup, Ruby and Son of God probably swapped, but they're instead going to go with it like this. And that means that Son of God and Ruby will have to probably switch later, maybe into the second stage if they can't keep this momentum going. And the tire is ready here for Sugar Free. Can he find anything with the Rip Tire? It's coming out now. Coming over, need to try to de-nest this hold now on the point that they have, this static play on the attack, and they actually find the kill. Shrugger denies it, but Hobbs fires back. He finds the kill, and it's now a 6v5, making a 5v5 as Paintbrush goes down.
And now Hawk picking up another kill, this time onto Son of God. Ninja Nick will coming with the respect of Shrugger, but Paintbrush will be brought back as well. And now with the whole Hawk being used from Hawk, can they find even more targets? Hobbs picks up another kill onto the Mercy, but is it enough? As Shrugger and Mystic still battling it out, still looking for those kills. Mystic will find one onto Hobbs. There's a Mercy and Roadhog now left on the point. Make that just Roadhog. And Hawk and Shrugger still fragging out, still getting those headshots and kills. And will be in the end first point reached here for Team LCG.
Shrugger has been very effective on this Widow so far. You look at that first point attack on Route 66 earlier against Congarna, and that was really their best look, I would say, so far. And now it seems like he's just kind of pulled that back. He's only died off once, got instantly rezzed back up by Ninja Nick there, so doesn't have too much downtime when he pulls out the Widowmaker, and has proven to be quite effective. The only time he's ever lost a duel is when he had to turn to kill off a Riptire, and he was effective in doing that as well.
And we'll see now whether or not that infra side will prove useful enough, as Hypnos is going to be able to find Son of God. Valkyrie will be the answer from Ninja Nick, but again, it will be Hobbs getting the D-suit. We'll see Mystic just go for the reset for now, as the answer, or rather return Valk, will be popped by Lil Menace. And overall, now that we did see this reset happen for the offensive side, I'm curious whether or not they will also make those swaps, as Son of God will stick to that Bastion. Getting close to that tank configuration means that it's not gonna swap just yet, and in terms of those resources, still favorable on the defensive side of No Clout.
This is going to be pretty tough, though, still. I mean, they're still not going to have any ability to contest the high ground unless Son of God can make it over there. And he jumps up, but he's not going to be able to make it into that window. Just not enough distance to be covered there. And they do manage to kill off Shrugger, as Hobbs, with all the space in the world. Again, they don't have that ability to contest the high ground, so he's got so much space to work with here. They're going to be able to find kill after kill after kill, and we'll likely see some swaps now from LCG.
As Hobbs picks up another kill onto Chrono Dota this time, and should see those swaps, as you said. It will be Son of God going onto the Junkrat, so no Tracer for him. Shrugger will be sticking to that Widowmaker, and Ruby, as a result, will be on the Zenyatta of his own. But as said, considering the deficit in terms of those ultimates, things are definitely still looking favorably here for No Clout. But 2 minutes and 40 seconds might, at the very least, give enough time for LCG to make things happen.
But they still have to play slow. They're just going to play high ground to high ground without the ability to allow Shrugger to find these angles to actually get these kills. He's going to go aggressive. He's going to get stunned, but Chainhook won't pull him in for the kill, so nothing lethal so far from the attacking side. Meanwhile, though, Hobbs was able to deny Ruby, and that's taking more time away from that Transcendence coming up. And just defensively, it seems like No Clout has really kind of found a way to just get nestled in and just unbudgeable right now. There's just no way that they're going to be moved. Chrono Dota still on this Orisa. I mean, there's no way for them to get under and actually pull them down off this high ground just yet. They have some ultimates, but that's it.
We'll see, however, that supercharger being popped from the side of Dota, but it's gonna be Sugar Free picking up the first kill, and now with the Riptire, Shrugger snipes it out again. That's a second tire he gets, as he will manage to find another kill onto Hawk, but the return kills are still good from the defensive side. Sugar Free hunts him down, and Hobbs now finding another kill. It will be another good defensive hold here for the side of No Clout, and with these final staggered kills, 1 minute 20 seconds remaining, we'll see some last few swaps come out of the side of LCG.
So now we're seeing them go over to the classic dive, bringing in the Lucio for the speed boost, and he can get up there, kind of help them boot those guys off of the high ground. And it's nice to be able to actually use the term "those guys" again. You know?
I mean, hey, those guys definitely earned their name over in the EU side, so gotta give them at least that. But we'll see now. Finally, this Winston rather dive in, but the whole Hog's gonna just shred through his HP. Shrugger still finds one kill, but it's not gonna be enough, as Sugar Free answers with one of his own onto Ninja Nick, and the Resurrect coming out of Little Menace will be good onto Paintbrush, and his Son of God will go down as well. It's going to be another good team fight win here for No Clout, and with 30 seconds left on the clock, I just can't see them finding any opening here, and it really has to be off of Transcendence being forced early out of Paintbrush, I feel like.
Well, I don't know. They're really gonna have to throw a lot at him, because last time they just ran at him. They killed him off, but he was just so patient, and he didn't pull out his Transcendence. Knew that he was gonna be able to safely get rezzed back up. That's exactly what we saw. 8 seconds now on the clock. Very aggressive ult coming out from Hypnot to just drop the bongos. We're going to see the shield come out in a different direction to prevent the kills coming from the self-destruct. And now it's all about the brawl on the point here. Paintbrush lost his Transcendence already, but they're going to be able to kill off Dodo quick. Shrugger's already out of the fight, so now it's just looking at the D.Va mech. They're going to de-suit the D.Va, trying to take Mystic out. Ruby won't be able to get anything done here by himself. Overtime will tick down, and No Clout make the stop before the second objective.
And we've seen how much of trouble teams in the European side of things had when it comes to that second objective, or rather reaching that second objective. So very nice defensive hold by No Clout. We'll be curious to see whether or not LCG can have an even better time on their side, because overall No Clout should be looking favorable here coming into their offensive round, because that first point is just so opened up, a lot of options available for the offensive side of it, and with the time they will have, means that they should be reaching set objective. Those first points, full holds, not as common, generally speaking, on Junkertown. So it's going to be tough for LCG, but overall, Shrugger at least stepping up.
When he had the space to work with, when he had these abilities to get, some off angles, when most of the pressure was certainly pointed at the Bastion from Son of God, Ruby kind of pulling people around a little bit on the Roadhog, then yeah, he did look good. He had a lot of ability to kind of get something done, was decent enough in the matchup between himself and Hobbs, but once we got into that second stage, it looked entirely different, and I think that's much to the effect of just not having that spacing anymore. They don't have that high ground control. His sightlines were denied almost outright by Hypnot being on the Orisa on high ground and everybody just standing behind it. So now when he's on defense, expect some more of the initial kind of first objective phase kind of play that you saw from Shrugger. But I mean, if there's any kind of threat to him at all, if Hobbs does manage to win out that duel early, or if a Tracer gets sent out, which isn't very likely, then that pressure is going to perhaps deny Shrugger, and we will see No Clout probably be able to handily take this first objective here.
But we will see Dota on the Reinhardt, so looking to hold very far forward, potentially with the rest of his team, with the likes of Ninja, Nick, and Ruby to support him out. The more elusive combo, and Hobbs now unable to find any angles, will be put under a bit of pressure. Sugar Free even losing a bit of HP, as we will see them just roll it out on that payload. It will be indeed Son of God pick up the first kill, but Hobbs answers with a Widow v Widow duel win overall, and no mercy on the defensive side means he will be down and out for a while. And now Paintbrush picking up another kill, this time around onto Ninja Nick. This could be enough to open things out here for No Clout to be at the very least really close to that objective.
Hobbs finding some picks now as Shrugger's coming back into this fight. Gonna be playing off of window, but won't have the ability, don't have anybody in front of him to allow him to actually take some shots. So now he has to wait for the rest of this of his team here, and it's going to be Chronodota trying to get back there. They will have the time to get there as they have Ninja Nick on the Lucio to get them back into position. They're sneaking their way now, but everybody's going to hear them here as Hawk is positioned quite effectively. Defense Matrix going to come out. They're just going to dive right on top of Chronodota to try to take a shield down early.
Oh, just melts him down as it's going to be all about No Clout picking up 4 kills, missing D-Suit. We even see Lil Menace just contest the enemy Widowmaker. He will go down, gets punished for it, but it's not going to matter as with 5 minutes remaining here, No Clout looking to close Junkertown in rapid fashion as it will have not that much distance to cover, really.
So the shield falls, and so does he. Chronodota still on this Reinhardt pick right now, so they don't currently have that high ground control that typically can really kind of mess with this type of attack. And as No Clout goes forward, they're putting the pressure on at the spawn. They're already up at the door, holding it down. They've got Paintbrush. He just unleashed the whole hog, threw them all back, almost got some kills. They managed to get one, and it was late. Chronodota coming back from spawn now. But given, you know, their spacing, given where they're positioned now, given the high ground control, given the configuration take coming out from Sugarfree, you have to expect that this is going to spell defeat. You have to expect that it's over right here.
Ruby will look to answer the coalescence. We'll keep the rest of his team safe for now. Self-destruct is going to be thrown in the air. Can find your targets? No is the answer as Son of God will look to dish out some damage with the whole hog. We'll find one. Ninja Nick finds a second onto Hobbs, and this might just be enough. Now with the hook coming onto Lil Menace, the kill secure is not going to be there, but they do it in the end. It will be LCG winning this team fight, but overall, we will see No Clout still able to regroup and being 3 meters away off of their checkpoint, or rather their last point here. It's still looking very, very bad for LCG.
So Chronodota saves the day for them there. He's going to still be onto this Reinhardt. They're going to have some semblance of high ground control, but they fall down to try to contest the objective as it's very close now. And this is where things get a little dicey as No Clout have now taken out Shrugger from this picture. They're putting the pressure down to Son of God, who doesn't have any help. The barrier is low for Chronodota, and they're just going to send a self-destruct right into the back line, but it's actually warded off by the truck. They're still finding kills nonetheless, putting pressure now as the fade comes out of the Moira. Chronodota will fall, won't have the heals to back him up, and it's going to be No Clout taking the fight and taking the map.
And quite a quick win when it comes to their offensive push. Overall, No Clout definitely still looking tip-top shape. And on the other side, LCG need to step it up even further if they are to equalize it on Hanamura's. That will be our second map. So after these commercial breaks, we'll be resuming shortly. Don't go anywhere.
And we are back at the analysis desk once again. LCG, they started the match great. Sugar was doing insane, getting the kills, doing what his team needed. And as soon as they passed the first point, their team seemed to run out of fuel, so to say.
Well, just as Yurik pretty much mentioned, once he was denied those sidelines, was unable to have as huge of an impact, and overall it was no Clout winning it out in the end with really good play out of most of their lineup. Really couldn't find too many problems to say, because we did see at the very least Lil Menace going a bit too ham, if you will, with that Valk looking to duel out the Widowmaker and get punished. But outside of that one mistake, I can't even really remember too many problems on their offensive round.
Also, Hopes and Sugar Free, they were the driving force on the attack and they were doing really good, I'd say. So now for the next match, we are going to go to Hanamura, Japan. And it seems that we are going
Teams
to
are
have
ready.
teams. They're not ready yet.
Okay.
They're not ready yet. But what's your prediction?
It's a tough one. LCG definitely looking down and out for now. It's gonna take even more stepping up out of the whole roster to really make things work. Maybe look to enable Schroger further, as he had some good times on the Widowmaker, and the Widowmaker can come out when it comes to first point on Hanamura. Would not expect it necessarily, but some interesting choices could happen. We've even seen Mei first points defense now with the latest patch being played.
Let's see if LCG is going to go 0-4 or they can bring it a turn up. Casters, take it away.
Attackers incoming.
Starting things off here at the home of the Shimada clan, Hanamura. Heard you guys talking about it before. It's actually a fictional town. It does not exist in Tokyo. How dare you? How dare you grab it? But nonetheless, we're going to jump into it. Voil's going to be swapping in here. The 15-year-old player. You know, we've seen him before on Pharah a little bit. Obviously not in this tournament, but in previous tournaments. I've personally seen him. I've casted him on Pharah, and that's something to look out for. But he's going to bring the Genji into the works here. And I've seen this as well. Just as proficient on this character, as he flexes quite a lot. And Sugar Free going to show us off the Tracer as, you know, yes, he plays the Genji. Yes, he plays, you know, a lot of these different characters. But these DPS are actually quite flexible, especially as young talent as well.
And already Quag tank lineup being forced to play on that point will be potentially in trouble here, as the split attention coming out of Sugar Free and the rest of this front lineup really makes things difficult for them. And now diving in, they're gonna look for those targets. Can they find anything though, as so far no kills on either side. Hawk will be desuited, however, and as a result we might just see LCG pick up a team fight win here to start things out on Hanamura, but it's not out of it just yet, as Chronodota will find one kill, Mystic with a second one, Mystic with a third one, and now it will be in the end LCG winning out with no ticks on the side of no Clout, but one kill for Voil at least, so small advantages here and there.
We'll have to see what they make of this, because with this tank type of defense, yes, they have the control when the fight comes to the point, and as we do see No Clout playing a dive, obviously the fight will want to come to the point, but Son of God's going to drop. They don't have the Mercy because of the patch, obviously, as Sugar Free got that kill way in the back as Son of God was, you know, coming back from respawn. But here we go, it's opening up. Ultimate's coming out from both sides. Lots of support coming from LCG as Ruby's holding onto that Coalescence as well, but they already lost Little Menace. And it seems as though Paintbrush wants to keep things going as Transcendence falls. They're still looking for some kills. They need to be lethal now. They need to find these picks here and now to secure this objective. They still have no ticks, and the attacking team seems to be all but warded off yet again.
Very nicely executed here by LCG on the defensive side. Son of God coming back from spawn on that Tracer. Will take down Hypnon, looking to close it out onto the side of Hawk. And look at this, no ticks still achieved here for No Clout, as even Chronodota opening it up in that team fight with a good Earth Shatter. Meant big thanks for them, and some adaptation, some swaps here coming out of No Clout. We'll see Sugar Free this time on the Reaper look to cheer for that defensive healthy lineup of LCG, as well as Voil on the Pharah.
They're gonna go ahead and take the high ground in so they can get away from those sight lines. Want to deny some of that ult charge coming into the fight, and it's now going to come down to Voil. Can he actually suppress them with that primary fire coming from the Pharah and generate up a barrage to actually deal the the damaging blow that is going to potentially allow them to get this point, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case as Ninja Nick flies off the map from Boyle on the concussive blast, but they're just not getting anything else done. Strugger now taking the Pharah out of the sky alongside Son of God, and every single one of these fights has taken a full minute brunch off the clock. So after 3 full fights, they're now down to under a minute to go, and it doesn't seem like there's any stopping LCG here on their defense.
And they have so many ultimates to work with, and I gotta give it to Corona Dota, who really had another impactful Earth Shatter, as we'll see the pulse bomb being used by Son of God, looking to stagger things even further. It's not gonna find any targets, however. 36 seconds remaining. Rocket Barrage is good to go. Paintbrush will look to stay alive just so he can use that Transcendence to potentially secure that point. However, so far unable to find any angles. Hawk will get hooked, but no follow-up onto him means that he will keep that mech suit for now. Sugarfree coming in from the side. Rocket Barrage will pick up 2, and 2 big ones, and that both supports going down. Means the staying power for this defensive side is gonna be way lessened, and now with the kills still coming through for the side of No Cloud, they finally get the space they needed, and it's all back of the side of Boyle on that Pharah.
And now, as we actually go into that second phase, this is where things get really interesting. Transcendence ready for Paintbrush, and almost more importantly, the Death Blossom ready for Sugarfree. And looking at this next phase, you see Chronodona over here on the Reinhardt, not the Orisa. He'll have Earthshatter more than likely in this fight at some point if they can keep him alive, and with Coalescence up, you have to imagine that that's going to be the case. But they're going to want to bring the fight down to that objective. They're going to want to go to the low ground and play there. That's where we could potentially see Sugarfree and Paintbrush combine for a very deadly blow with that ultimate there from the Reaper.
But we'll see the self-destruct also be used. Can't find the targets. Paintbrush will find Son of God. And now Earthshatter is going to sit 2 on the ground as Schrager, Mystic, and Ninja Nick will pick up 1 kill each to boot. And Hawk, alongside the rest of his team, will look to disengage. But Paintbrush still finds another kill somehow before he will finally go down. But a lot of ultimates committed there on both sides. However, Sugarfree at the very least will still have the Death Blossom.
Insane that Chrono was again able to save the day for them. You know, on the last map, we saw it not amount to just enough, but here we'll see if they can keep the flow going. No Clout. Now looking to engage once again. They still have a support ult to pair with Death Blossom. They could pull them down to the high ground and do it again. There's no support ult for LCG, so now as they engage and come down to the low ground, they might not have anybody to protect against Sugarfree as he looks to open this one up.
Look for those targets off of the Riptire, but is unable to find any success, as Sugarfree and Boyle will be the first ones to get the kills. Now Sugarfree following it up with a Death Blossom will look to clean up, and with Ninja Nick finally going down, they will be able to contest eventually before that third tick hits, you would think, but it's gonna be a tough one as the primary rather will be used by the side of Hypnot, looking to push them away. Sugarfree finds a kill onto Chronodota, looking for more as he gets the D-suit. Sound Barrier will keep things delayed here for the defensive side of LCG, but things are still looking stellar for this lineup of No Cloud as they look to close it out. Hawk finds a kill off of the self-destruct, but somehow we will still see that Wednesday survive, but not for long. Boyle will pick up that kill. Sugarfree with the 1 onto Son of God, and they get it in the end with 1 minute and 48 seconds remaining.
He saw such great control as well coming out of that attack from No Cloud. Yeah, their first point didn't look stellar. The second point looked a lot better though, and typically that's what I look to kind of gauge off of what to expect from a map like this on Hanamura, where you know the first point could look a lot different if they come back in with something different in their next push if it gets to that point. But the second point, given the fact that it looked that good, I would say that they have a good chance of potentially finding themselves some extra points in or outside of regulation if they might need that. But you know, that could easily be changed again via defensive change with Chronodota maybe not going onto the Reinhardt where they have to play on that low ground and maybe give things up to Sugarfree, especially on the Reaper. You'll have to see. I mean, this is where the mind games come into play between these two rosters where, you know, the tank strats that we saw a lot in EU, you know, are they going to be employed, or are we going to see dive, or are we going to see, you know, Orisa holds with Junkrat? There's a lot of different looks that we could see from these teams, especially given, you know, what we know about the flexibility, especially of No Clout. But LCG is certainly capable of much the same, even given the fact that Son of God is a stand-in here for Ultima Web.
And so far, it seems like it's a good read from the side of No Cloud as they will run that triple tank alongside Sugarfree on the Junkrat, who should have a lot of success if this will indeed be the choices here for LCG, who might look to swap after they scout out the opposition to those first few team fights. And I'm interested to see whether or not Sugarfree can really position himself to get those angles onto the opposition, as they expect them to just go ahead and speed boost throughout the point, judging by that trap placement. Whereas so far, considering again the fact that they will run the quad tank, that is most likely a potential outcome or choice.
Going into it, these guys are just going to be running straight at each other. No Cloud trying to bring out the Junkrat to help them clean things up, and that extra damage might be all they need to actually find these kills as they're cleaning things up efficiently now, especially on the front end of things. They demech Mystic, find the kill onto Ruby, and it will be, again, just an easy cleanup. Hypnot at the forefront, just swinging away, is able to come away with about 90% towards his Earth Shatter. That's massive.
And I gotta give props to No Cloud. I didn't notice that at first, but the coordination with the sprays for this team, lining them up towards the trap and numbering them for each season for the top 500, very nicely done. But now they will have that Earth Shatter good to go. We'll see those mind games come through potentially as Chrono Dota will not find his shield. Big Earth Shatter, big slam coming out of Hypnot, and this should be an easy cleanup for No Cloud as they will look to just once again mop the floor with the opposition.
Hypnot, a little celebratory dance, throwing out some sprays as they create a little road of sprays for themselves on No Cloud. And wait for the next push, although these pushes have been coming in a lot quicker, especially given the speed from the Lucio Moira setup. Son of God and Chrono Dota have really struggled, I think, so far in trying to get anything done, create some spacing. So they're going to look for a different type of engagement, and now actually trying to get away from the Riptire that's coming out here from Sugarfree. Can he find anything with it as he goes up over the top? D.Va going to see him now as it drops down, and they find the kill again onto the Reinhardt.
And at that, Son of God just looking for that tire means he got hooked, was out of position, and as a result, it will be the reset once again for LCG, as it's gonna be a team wipe for No Cloud. And oh man, it's looking very tough, as most looking at the ultimates or the ult economy still overall favoring the side of No Cloud. We'll look to delay things even more, and with 1 minute 48 seconds remaining, it might be banking on Son of God just getting that Graviton to potentially get the point.
Finally, some ability for Chrono Dota to get something done here as Shrugger pulls out the whole hog, throwing everybody else back, but he gets hooked in, killed off now. Hypnot is not in the mix at the moment, so now it's a big opportunity. Can he find the Earth Shatter that might open this point up, or do they have to back completely out? And that looks like the latter will be the case, as Chrono Dota will once again be denied, but coming back into it with an Earth Shatter, they might have a shot.
Instead of God, if he's gonna get late killed here, which indeed will happen, it's gonna be looking really bad for this side of LCG. And even Paintbrush, man, on that Lucio, very nicely done to get into a position where he can take out Mystic in that small window of opportunity where he was out of the mech. And now that they will have 60 seconds left on the clock, Sound Barrier, Earth Shatter, Graviton good to go. Things can definitely still happen here for LCG, but Hypnot will look to charge up his Earth Shatter. Riptire is gonna come through, gets found out though. Mystic this time around being on the better end of it, but the Earth Shatter is gonna find only one out of Hypnot, and the bigger Earth Shatter is gonna come out this time. A Chrono Dota, but can they close it out? 2 kills so far. Son of God picking up that last kill alongside Shrugger, as Shrugger will get the D-suit as well. Coalescence will come out, but the member disadvantage here for Team No Cloud means that LCG should get it in the end.
I actually think that was Shrugger on the whole hog in that fight. I could be mistaken. It might have been a boot from Ninja Nick or something, but someone booped up Hypnot, who had the charge lined up onto Chrono Dota after the Earth Shatter that came out, and they could have closed that out with a hold right then and there. But now they're looking to hold again because of that one little boop up onto Hypnot. It's crazy how something that minuscule can be that much of a determining factor. They're going to go right into this though, Brunch. Ruby taking a lot of pressure to start things off, and Voil coming back onto the Pharah.
And there's a pick at that, but Hawk still getting 2 kills. Shrugger will go ahead and pop that whole hog, and would expect him to potentially swap around as a result. As Voil, interesting choice here to be on the fair, but definitely paying off against this quad tank lineup as he's already at 62% and maybe now expecting them to make a swap. Will make another one of his own, this time onto Genjin. Really good adaptation here for NoCloud. Really like this hero choices coming out of him.
I like that Voil made the swap as soon as they saw that it was going over to a dive, especially when it involves Strugger on the Widow, because again, you want to put some pressure on Strugger's Widow. You know, they like to be aggressive in the front line. They like to just try to create some space, which leaves Strugger slightly more vulnerable, especially alongside Ruby. If you can bring Voil in there quite aggressively, just get in there, put some pressure down onto the Widow, you can actually sometimes find 2 kills for yourself. So I'll have to see how that plays out here, as they already took down Chronodota, so now it's just about cleaning up the rest.
Voil will go down, but it seems like Hawk is going to be on fire as he picks up the 3rd kill of that engage. Son of God is going to go ahead and reset, and time is once again ticking away. 2 minutes, 35 seconds left on the clock. They will have the sound barrier at the very least, but the defensive respawn advantage alongside Paintbrush's Transcendence will make things very difficult for them. And I like Lil Menace also going over to the Ana himself.
Yep.
We've seen how those Bionades can really shut down these offensive push, as well as just being close to that defensive spawn, being able to stay safe really helps those Anas a lot.
It's also someone that can kind of intermittently put pressure on the Widowmaker. If you know the Widowmaker isn't looking at it, then the Ana can kind of just poke and prod a little bit just to open up opportunities for Voil to jump in there, but they don't even need that. They're on the aggressive. NoClout again just jumping in, cleaning things up, and now it's going down past the initial time bank that they set for themselves, and things are now looking good for NoClout again.
And with that nano boost, should be looking forward to using it onto Voil, I would expect, potentially here, going into this team fight. But as you said, ultimate economy still favoring the defensive side, and considering the time bank left here for LCG, gotta create that space somehow. But Trugger swapping off to Genji himself might be the choice that can really make that happen. But we'll see the Nanobus being used indeed onto Voil as he's gonna hunt down Ruby. Nice pulse bomb coming out of Sugar Free, making sure he gets a call to Chronodota. The answer out of Son of God will be good onto Hypnot, but it's not gonna be enough, as Strugger will manage to find the kill onto Paintbrush. Son of God gets another one into Lil Menace. Can they make it happen as they do find those 2 support kills? It's not gonna happen in the end, as Sugar Free alongside Hawk and Voil will be good enough to get this defensive still stabilized.
And something that I like to see, especially from someone as young as Voil is, I mean, 15 years old, flexing DPS for a team like NoClout. Little Menace pops up the nano boost on him. You would expect him to pull the blade out, but he says, nah, I'm going to be patient with it. I don't need it right now. I'm going to hold this and instead have it for later where it might be a little bit more useful. Now, going into this next fight, yeah, Ruby's going to have Transcendence, and he does have it secured here, but it's going to be popped very early, so this might open up a big opportunity for Voil if he can get some healing now to pull it out late in this fight.
But good target calling here from LCG to make sure they shut him down before that happens, but still, they might see themselves being butt in the back for that particular choice to use entrances so early on. But self-destruct is going to come through. Strugger is going to find a kill, Son of God as well, but Voil coming back in with a blaze going to be unsuccessful, and as a result, LCG might just do it into overtime as Strugger picks up a kill onto Lil Menace, gets the decent onto Hawk, and maybe they can do it, but it's still going to be contested from the side of Sugar Free, as we'll see the respawn come through. Hypnot looking to, at the very least, delay things here as he still gets a kill onto Mystic, so it's not over just yet. The rest of the respawns still available. Nanoboost as well onto Hawk will prompt the sound barrier, and as Strugger will find 2 kills off of the Swift Strikes. Can they still close it out? It's gonna be tough, but they might just do it as Sugar Free is gonna delay things. Hurt on the point as he finds 2 kills, so they maybe can still hold. Hypnot coming back from spawn. We'll see him get a kill onto Ninja Nick, and they might have just done it here.
Oh, and the wall's ready to just deal with this self-destruct too, but he doesn't throw it down. He allows Hawk to die off, but that's gonna be okay for now at least. Mystic will go out of mech. They'll find this kill. Overtime will tick down. Oh, but somehow Chronodota makes it back. The stick comes out, Primal Rage follows through, and it looks like they're still going to be battling the sun out, but throughout this entire fight, as they do pull it out, NoClout takes the map. you notice that they just didn't have control over the objective, and because of that, they were not slowing the respawn timers of the defending team, and No Clout was able to make it back in, find some kills onto Chronodota to open things up, and that's all the space they needed to secure that hold.
And the problem now, looking forward for LCG, is the fact that they have to face 2 other opponents to potentially make it out of the group. Considering the fact they already have 2 losses on the board, it's gonna be tough, but